This is perhaps more covert when it comes to American politics, and it's a little more visible when it comes to British politics, especially with the conviction of people like Lord Nazir, who was being paid by the ISI, if I'm not mistaken. And a lot of lawmakers, especially linked to the Labour Party, have taken funding openly from countries like China and Pakistan. And if you look at their track record in the parliament, they've openly spoken against India, against what's happening in Kashmir and things like that. So the pattern is quite visible out there. Now, the other country, perhaps, which we've been having sort of a rough phase with, is China. And China, although it tries to be the best propaganda maker out there, is miserably failing at it. Condolences to those guys. Ashley, you've been studying China as well, and there are scarily similar patterns as to how the New York Times covered Nazi Germany and how China is perhaps looking at human rights violations in places like Xinjiang and Tibet, for that matter.
Yeah, it's it's a power quotient. I think China is very adept at using hard and soft power in order to propagate its messaging, and it's no holds barred. It will spare no expense. This, you would think, as this very hard power regime, they may not be as predisposed to make these enormous expenditures on soft power, but they really do, and it really works. I mean, I'm sort of looking at how China was able to shape the narrative about lab leak and the origins of COVID in the very, very early days of the pandemic. It didn't take much. Like it just took a lot of money and a lot of access, and a lot of the access came through American institutions. So the Chinese used these institutions, again, like a pipeline. So they identify the pipeline, they know where the information is, and the influence and the access is flowing, and they tap it. It's not that complex conceptually. Why other countries are not as adept, I think that's something that has to do with the structure of government in China. Like they're able to just go after these types of campaigns and prosecute them to the utmost, whereas the US or India or Israel, there's so much infighting and disagreement because of the nature of democracy that you're not able to put all your weight behind a single message and then do whatever it takes to get the message out there. And China is very, very good at doing that. And also, we can see from, this sort of is again, it's a product of China's authoritarian government structure, because the New York Times has been banging on China's door, trying to get into that marketplace for, I would say, at least 10 years. And that's a huge, amazing market to access. 1.4 billion people, they want in, but they know that to get in, the New York Times has to play ball with China. They cannot report certain things in certain ways. Otherwise, they will absolutely never get into that market. India, on the other hand, does not have that restriction. You're already in the Indian market as an American news organization because it's an open country. There's freedom of the press, freedom to report. So India doesn't have that kind of leverage that China does, even though the market sizes are relatively the same. By restricting it, China has given itself this huge lever, and by playing ball, the New York Times has enabled that to happen, essentially.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.